Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome for the first time to the Strawberry Loli channel. This is your friendly neighborhood Slytherin Ren. Today, as you can tell by the thumbnail and title, we are going to be looking at the new Flirty Talk collection from Colourpop, which is their release for Valentine's Day 2023. So I picked up the Flirty Talk eyeshadow palette, all 4 of the pressed powder blushes. They came in a discounted bundle, and 2 of the 5 pressed powder highlighters, which I think is a new formula. They actually came out with 5 for this collection, so there's more highlighters than blushes. I just got the pair set of the 2 most basic ones, Making Memories, which is just that classic universal silvery white highlight, and then You Are Glowing, which is more of a champagne nudie gold. Both are good, but I definitely prefer the Making Memories one better. It's just more my speed. The You Are Glowing is just a little too powdery and like not reflective enough for my taste, which I'm sure is the point. But yeah, if I could go back in time, I would only purchase Making Memories. The only other highlight that stood out to me as kind of unique in this collection was the lavender one, but I already have a lilac lavender-esque highlight from Odin's Eye Soul Money 2 collection, and I'm positive that one is better quality, so I don't need this new one from Colourpop. So yeah, the whole pressed powder highlighter range is kind of like, I don't know, I feel like Colourpop is a little bit late to the party with this one. I mean, I guess there are always going to be people who are willing to buy this type of product. I bought it. But overall, the formula gives me very 2018 highlighter vibes, very powdery, opaque stripe of silver across the cheek. I feel like as a collective, we have moved on to more nuanced highlighter formulations. Right now, especially in Asia, people are preferring more of that glistening, you know, wet looking glass skin type of highlighter, or something with a clear base that gives more of like a diamond like finish. So this formula on the whole, I would say it's pretty basic, not necessarily a bad thing, but it just depends on your preference. And actually that's all I have to say on the highlighters. I didn't purchase any of the lip scrubs or glowing lips because I despise 4th Ray Beauty, and I also don't like Colourpop's glowing lip formula. I'm actually quite perplexed at how many of the beauty creators I follow that have been liking and endorsing the glowing lips. I mean, I'm sure those people are being honest for their own experience, but for me personally, that formula is so heavy and waxy feeling. It emphasizes all the wrong things about my lip texture. I much prefer the matte alternative, which would be the Colourpop blotted lip. That formula is superior, okay? Even as a Western brand, you can still get that K-beauty popsicle lip effect with the blotted lip. But yeah, for the glowing lip, I can only assume that it's probably just my lips that don't look good in it. But even if you remove the aesthetic aspect though, I still think it feels gross and heavy on. It's just very waxy, almost crayon-like. By the way, this look today is inspired by him. Yes, you heard that correctly. Him from the Powerpuff Girls, the OG iconic cartoon villain.
And squat, and up, and squat, and up. Okay, legs up, 2, 3.
I love him. I stan, actually. So fabulous.
I'm having my Illuminati moment. Yeah. My Illuminati moment.
Oh my god!
I also like HIM, which is a Finnish love metal band from the 90s and 2000s, but that is neither here nor there. So I'm just going to play my makeup application footage in the corner here somewhere to save time. This look is pretty self-explanatory, you know, red and pink for Valentine's Day. I only used products from this collection except for the lipstick, of course, and then I just put on some gems from Daiso. I actually think that red and pink together is a very underrated color combination. I think it gets overlooked because we already think of pink as just another shade of red, but if you can really get a contrasting red and pink shade together, I think it looks really, really pretty. Alright, so this is a brutally honest, non-PR review, right? I am going to give it to you straight. I feel like, no shade, but a lot of people that I've watched personally review this collection, and just in general, people who review makeup lately, it seems like they don't quite understand how to form an opinion or how to actually review a product in its entirety. It's not just as simple as, oh, let's try out this shade. Ooh, it's blending nicely. Okay, let's layer this one on top of it. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cute. Sure. So yeah, this collection is super cute, you guys. Go out and buy it. Happy Valentine's Day. Like, no, there are definitely specific issues that we need to address, okay? Yeah, I just don't understand why no one else is quite bothering to mention these. Anyway, that's why this channel exists, right? So we are going to get into the nitty-gritty. Let's start off with the positive, shall we? This might sound weird, but I actually think that the best thing this collection has to offer is the overall color story, like the undertones and the shades. You would think it's very easy to find the reds and pinks and everything presented in this collection any other time of the year from any other brand pretty much. But in my opinion, it's actually not, because the color story in this collection, it gives that very specific like artificial plasticky feel in a good way. Just like sometimes you want to have your makeup look super natural, there are other times that you want it to look super bright and artificial and technicolor. So yeah, the shades in this collection are, I would say, very artificial looking, not quite pastel, but definitely capture that like Barbie toy-like type of essence. So for example, if you compare this Flirty Talk palette with last year's Valentine's Day palette, which was Secret Admirer, you can see that obviously, although they're both pinkish and red themed, Secret Admirer has definitely more of a flushed, wearable feel to it than Flirty Talk. It has more of that neutral, dusty rose undercurrent that's designed to mesh well with your natural skin tone, as opposed to Flirty Talk, which is a much brighter, stand on its own kind of color story. And the same goes for the blushes in this collection. So that was actually my biggest reason for purchasing. Believe it or not, it's kind of hard to find these very vibrant, true candy pinks and candy reds anywhere else, especially in Japan. And I wanted to have those options in my personal collection, which is why it pains me so much to have to say that overall, the formulas for both the eyeshadows and blushes were just not doing it for me this time around. I'm actually wondering if Colourpop changed up the formulation just a little bit on their powder products across the board sometime last year, because I just feel like in the past their eyeshadows were a little more buttery and pigmented. They packed a little more punch than I felt like I was getting from this Flirty Talk palette, and even some of their more other recent releases, such as the Muppets Christmas palette. I felt like that one was a little lackluster too. In fact, I think I went too easy on the Muppets collab in my review video for that. But anyway, so this palette, although I really like it, first of all, I really like the presentation. You know, it has, if you look closely, there's like a faint pink leopard print in the background, and the text here has like a holographic effect going on. You can see it better on the inside with the lips here. And I like the fact that it opens vertically like a book, which is a very small detail. Although I do love the shades, I like the color story overall. It's decently pigmented overall too, but it's just lacking that X factor that the Secret Admirer palette from last year had. Secret Admirer shadows were definitely more buttery and softer to the touch than the ones in Flirty Talk, and the same can be said about the blushes actually. Before we go into the blushes, I just want to take a little closer look. So this entire top row up here actually disappointed me quite a bit. First we have On Your Mind, which is kind of like that typical Colourpop matte eyeshadow, but it has like micro shimmers throughout. And the thing about this one is that it has such good potential, because if you really look closely, it's a mix of silver and really light metallic pink micro shimmers, which I've never really seen that paired with a matte white before. But the problem is that once you blend this onto your eyelids, you'll never be able to really see it. It only ever comes off as just a typical, you know, pastel matte white. So I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity. Like if they made these sparkles a little more obvious, that could have taken this shadow to the next level. Then we have Be Mine here, which is the pressed glitter. It looks absolutely beautiful when swatched, but the problem with this one, which is actually similar to my gripes with a lot of Colourpop's pressed glitter shades, is that it flakes off like nobody's business on the eyes. Like for my look today, I remember applying this several times actually over my lids, and yeah, it would just flake off and result in such a lackluster coverage in the end. Definitely not optimal for monolids or Asian type eyelids. And then we have Just My Type, which is a Super Shock shadow. I appreciate and understand the sentiment behind including a Super Shock formula inside an eyeshadow palette like this, but to be honest with you, I wish that Colourpop would just stop it, okay? Because not only is, I mean, first of all, this shade in particular, Just My Type, I don't know if it's just my palette, but it is swatching like absolute crap. I personally don't like the shift in this one. It's kind of like a, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a rusty pink. I know this part is just personal preference, but to me, this is not a pretty effect. And yeah, Super Shock shades in eyeshadow palettes in general, I wish that Colourpop would stop, because even if you do happen to get a good one, it's gonna dry out so quickly from being out in the open like this and not sealed in an airtight container. I wish they would just stick to the style of, you know, making the palette all powders and then selling the Super Shocks individually. Or you could just bundle them with the palette, Colourpop, and charge us less. How's that for an idea? Case in point about Super Shocks, this is one of their palettes from the Opal of My Eye collection, which was last summer, I believe, but like not that long ago, right? And look at this. This shadow is a Super Shock shadow. The entire pan dried up so much that it shrank and fell out This is not a result of me dropping the palette or handling it aggressively. This is simply the nature of the Super Shock formula, you know? And it's why I implore Colourpop to just stop trying to make Super Shocks in eyeshadow palettes in a regular pan as opposed to an individual sealed container a thing, okay? Stop trying to make fetch happen. So I actually love this Text Me blush from, again, the Secret Admirer collection. This is my favorite type of like blue-based hot fuchsia pink. So finely milled, pigmented, and stunning. One swipe just gives you like full opaque coverage. So naturally I bought a bunch of the heart blushes in this new collection expecting to get the same quality as I got from Text Me. But what I noticed this time around is that the Flirty Talk blushes are definitely not as pigmented as Text Me. And I don't think it has to do with the shade either, because this is deeper than all of the blushes available in the Flirty Talk collection. I'm also aware, like, I know it's not necessarily beneficial to have a blush be so pigmented and opaque right off the bat, but the thing is, like, these don't even go on evenly. I could tell even as I was just swatching them on my arm, the powder was just doing weird things. It was like inconsistent, going on patchy or like not sticking to certain parts of my skin. I have no idea what's going on. I almost feel like I'm being gaslit because part of me is like, well, you must be applying it wrong or something. It should be giving you the same effect as Text Me. But look, I will show you right now actually. So let's just do a quick comparison. This is Text Me, right? Beautiful, pigmented, could honestly double as an eyeshadow. Beautiful, even flush of color. You see, I didn't have to mess with it much. Just swipe it across and it gives you that nice even flush of color. And then here is Woo Me, which is like the most vibrant shade in this collection, the Flirty Talk. That's Woo Me. And look at how different it goes on. Do you see that? It's like patchy, and it doesn't even, like, the powder is almost repelled from my skin. So this one, if you look closely, it even went hard pan after my first swatch. These grooves here, that's because I had to scrape the top layer off with a spoolie, and it's still not going on evenly. Let's look at another one. This one, Hot to Touch. It's like a hot pastel pink shade. I was excited for this one because everyone says it's a dupe for that $50 Dior blush that went viral last year. And again, look at how patchy and streaky that goes on. Like, I'm not crazy, right? For these two, look at how the powder just sits on top and won't actually stick to or blend into the skin. Very, very strange. I feel like there must be something different now with the powder blush and eyeshadow formulas. Please let me know if anyone else has noticed this as well, just so that I don't feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone here. So yeah, I mean, ironically, the heart-shaped powder blush that I love the most from Colourpop is not even from this year's collection. I almost forgot about these heart stamp marker pen things. It's just a pink heart stamp and a red heart stamp. I wanted to wait until a different day to demonstrate this for you so that you can see my skin is not damp or wet from swatching and washing it the whole day. But you can see even so on like super dry skin. Look at how severely it bleeds into my wrinkles. Now, I'm sure that it would not be this severe if I actually stamped these on my face. They might turn out a little bit better, but yeah, the bleeding is pretty pronounced. But even worse than that, and the reason for why you probably noticed I didn't incorporate any into my look today is because these stain like nobody's business. Holy crap. So I literally just applied them and you can see it's already refusing to come off. Before you say, oh, that's because you're using cheap makeup wipes from Daiso, true, but trust me, the other day when I was trying these out for the first time, I was using my Shu Uemura super expensive, super effective cleansing oil. They still wouldn't come off, not even with Shu Uemura. Yeah, so that's really, really disappointing. I actually, like, I don't understand how people in other reviews glossed over this. They're just like, oh yeah, cute. Heart stamps, let's put it all over our face. No, not if it's gonna stain like this, I'm not. You know what these remind me of? These remind me of those really cheap, like, scented, fruit scented or something, markers that we would use to color in elementary school. And in fact, like, the fact that it's staining on my skin makes me really wonder, is this even technically considered an eyeliner, a makeup product, or is it just straight up marker? Because I mean, it's giving marker. That's what I'm trying to get at here.
What is this?
Smells like piss.
Smells like ew.
Looks
Oh,
like
don't touch
piss.
it, Bar. What you do?
This is piss. Piss with ink.
I don't know. I feel like these are a total gimmick. Probably the most gimmicky out of the entire collection, even though for some reason people seem to have lost their critical thinking, analytical skills when it comes to reviewing these in particular. You guys draw your own conclusions about this. Look, it doesn't even cleanly stamp the heart. Sometimes you get like a little bit of the curve from the circle below. I mean, that's just, I'm not putting this on my face, okay? And then walk around for days with marker stains on my face? No, I don't think so. There you have it. Based on the formulations alone, I would have to say that I cannot really recommend this collection at all. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, and I don't regret buying it for myself, but it's not at that level where I can recommend in good faith to the public at large. Because of the weirdness that I felt was present in the formulas this time around, I didn't quite get that special fuzzy feeling in my heart while using these that I thought I would. Even as I'm looking at myself in the monitor right now, to be honest, the thing that I like the most is, again, the coloring. These specific pink and red shades. Presentation wise, also very, very cute. You know, who doesn't like a cute heart-shaped compact? And I even like the way that they styled this eyeshadow palette. As far as the usage experience though, very, very subpar, I'm sorry to say. And I'm a little confused, to be honest with you. But anyway, there you have it. That is my 2 cents. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!